Okay, let me just tell you what, there's an insect that we didn't know very much about. And it's present in the Great Plains of the United States, and it's a big problem for people who grow tomatoes and potatoes for a living. This pest has been in northern Mexico. It's in San Diego now, so it's on California's radar. It's a pretty bad pest of tomatoes and potatoes. It's called a psyllid. Actually, we have psyllids that bother some of our ornamental plants too. They have sucking mouth parts, so they're actually like aphids. They suck the juices out of the plant. One thing that these guys are able to do as they suck, they may inject a disease into the plant that causes the plant, so it does even more damage to the plant. There are other insects like leafhoppers that do this kind of thing to different kinds of crops. So this one will do it with tomatoes. It could do it with potatoes. Luckily, we haven't seen that problem yet. As the larval form of the insects feed, what they leave behind them, the frass that they leave behind them, looks kind of like powdered sugar, or not powdered sugar, granular sugar. It's very tiny. It's white colored. So one day we're working in these two tomato beds right behind you, and we saw some little insects we couldn't identify. We thought they looked like scale. Then we saw the frass. The frass, we kind of knew what it was. Anyway, it took us a day or two to figure out just exactly what was happening. And we found out that we had the tomato psyllids. Then the next question is, what do you do with tomato psyllids? And actually, what the literature from University of California, we looked it up, and they said they really recommend, especially for agriculture, most of the information right now is for people who are growing tomatoes for a living. They said you have to treat this. You treat it, and for organically grown stuff, you treat it with a material that's called spinosad. And spinosad is something like BT. It's a bacterial material, so it's not a refined chemical. It's a bacterial material that you spray on the plant. It kills the insect on contact, and the insect, if it ingests it, that also causes it to die. So they said because it takes so long for a beneficial population to build up, to control the insect, which it can do, by that time you've lost your crop. So of course, I mean, we're like the people who grow tomatoes for a living, right? Nobody's as interested in their crop as people who are growing tomatoes, right? You can always buy some lettuce somewhere, but you gotta have those homegrown tomatoes. So we went on a little treasure hunt to find the material, which can be found. Actually, there are quite a few insecticides on the market that contain spinosad, and you can either get it ready to spray, which is actually not very much. If you have several affected plants, you probably need more than that, or you get the kind that you dilute and you make up your own brew. So I want you to look at the tomatoes growing in these two beds kind of behind you. They're right behind you. There's this bed that has beans and cucumbers in it, but behind that, does this go? I'll just carry it. Yeah, I'll just carry my boom box.
I'll carry it, but I'll take it.
I'll carry my boom box. And
how do you spell spinosad?
Yeah, just like it sounds. S-P-I-N-S-I-D.
S-A-D, I think.
S-A-D, yeah, S-A-D.
Spinosad.
So these tomatoes, all the tomatoes, there's nothing wrong with. I think you can identify right away. These three. This one, actually, we think it exhibits that disease that's caused by the feeding of these insects. I don't think we're going to see the insects today because they've been sprayed twice. They've been sprayed twice.
With spinosad?
Right.
And Alice, didn't you take all the leaves that were sectioned away too?
Yeah, well, you know, we're like all gardeners. We saw these bugs, we said, what is this? Get them off of there. So we removed, before we knew what they were exactly, we removed the biggest, heaviest infestation that we saw. And we do have some, there are in another bed, there are some tomatoes that have some of these insects I can show you.
Is it like this?
No.
Yeah. So, okay. Let's pass this around. These are, I think, On this leaf, there are two little tan insects. These are desiccated, they're dead. But you can certainly see the frass they've left behind, the sugar, and it's often just called sugar. Plus, this tomato's got another problem, but
So the yellow is not from
the
the...
yellow is another problem this tomato's got that's not related to the insects. But so the disease that they give is called psyllid yellows, but in this case it's purple. You can see how stunted the new growth is. And I tell you, this tomato is going to come out. This tomato is not going to go anywhere. It's not going to it's not going to grow fruit. This one especially. This one looks a little bit better. Maybe, so the jury, and we're optimists, right? We gardeners are optimists. It's like, oh, maybe tomorrow it'll look better. So we're also hoping that, but the tomato psyllid is a pretty serious issue. It should be treated, and it may cause you to destroy your plants. Because again, the biological control won't build up fast enough to save this plant. Well, this plant's gone because it has the disease. The other ones that look more healthy, they may grow. They may grow. The adult insects have wings. They are blown in. And there are lots of pests in agriculture that are like that. They are blown in, then the adults lay the egg. The adults are pretty small as well, so they can move around. And once we knew about this, we definitely wanted the community garden to know because, it's right here. So the pests are probably, in the community garden as well.
And they have some live ones.
Yeah. Like I said, when we first saw them, we thought we had scale. And we're all saying, well, we've never even seen scale on tomatoes. What is this? So we looked it up and we said, if it's scale, we can treat it with insecticidal soap, which we did. But insecticidal soap didn't hurt the plants. It cannot control this. This bug needs something more than insecticidal soap. They're on the edges.
Those are live bugs?
Yeah, they're nymphs. The way these bugs work, what we were in school, we learned it was incomplete metamorphosis. Now they call it hemimetabolous. Okay, which means that the adult lays an egg. The egg hatches into a nymph, and then it's a little creature, and it just kind of gets bigger and bigger. It doesn't really do the cocoon thing like a butterfly does. It just turns into an adult rat,
And that's the same.
Yeah, so we have plants over in this long, well, you've seen what they look like. There are some plants over in this tomato bed, and then there's another, this is a hijacking thing. There's another interesting tomato problem that actually is very serious, and I just read about it this morning to make sure I knew how serious it was. And it's very serious, which is tobacco mosaic virus. Tobacco and tomatoes are very closely related. They're in the same family of plants, Solanaceae. And the tobacco, if you just have, well, that's not really true. Tobacco mosaic virus in tomato is a bad thing because you can't get rid of the virus. So you want to get the plant out of the garden. You don't want to save seed from it. The fruit, you won't get good fruit from it. So let's come see one. It's the first in 20 years I've ever seen it. But
Can't get rid of it. Pull the plant. I take the plant.
The second one from the end is toast. That's like everything's going to be
also, if you want more information about the tomato plant and one of our advisors
So, spinosad. Spinosad.
Little white.
Yeah, the little guys there. This doesn't have as much of the little sugar, the waste. Oh. This is just the fuzzy little guy, and I tell you, I would never have seen it if I didn't know to look. But you can tell that the plant's unhappy.
No.
Yeah. I would look at that plant and go, what is wrong with it? And then start looking.
Yeah.
And I looked at this guy first and Alice is like, you can tell which ones don't have it. I'm like, oh,
Yep,
well,
and ones that don't.
well then, yes.
Well, I'm glad all mine look like that.
Yeah,
The
that's
big
good.
ones.
I'm not sure what I want to do with these. Burn it, stop on it? What do you want to do?